let's go over the Galley Law and why they're going to be so important for the future of this story. But I need to give a spoiler alert up through the Elbaf arc. If you haven't been reading the manga, then you might want to scroll on. Okay, so let's start with this comment right here. What even happened to the Galley Law? Aren't they that shipwright company? Didn't we see that Iceberg and Polly are still chillin'? You're absolutely right, we did. During the Vegapunk message, we see Iceberg with his new secretary, Alice. The Galley Law is known to be the best shipwrights in the world. The Galley Law was technically founded by Iceberg 7 years ago, but it's much deeper than that. Because without one of the best One Piece dads, Tom, we wouldn't have any of this. Tom was known as the best shipwright in the world, and he's also the guy who made Gold D. Rogers' ship. After Tom passed, Iceberg was able to unite the 7 different shipwright companies of Water 7. That's why Water 7 is named Water 7, because there were 7 shipwright companies there. But he brought them all under one banner, and that created the Galley Law Company, which still persists today. But interestingly, we have heard about another Galley Law. Spelled a little differently, Yarul told Harold about an ancient giant shipwright crew named the Galley Law Band. They're thought of as myth at this point, but apparently they were very real. Yarul explains that they traveled to distant lands, and one day he received a letter from them, saying that they had been captured. But Yarul says, how could they have possibly been captured when it's a 100 giant deep crew, consisting of ancient giants and some of the strongest people in Elbaf history? But it doesn't stop there. He says that it's very clear that Elbaf had quite the enemy back then. And there's even stories that the giants were actually frozen and hidden somewhere. And of course, that leads us to Punk Hazard, where our Straw Hats happened to stumble upon this room that had a bunch of giants in prisoner outfits completely and utterly frozen. I'm not much of a gambling man, but this seems like a connection. Now this is where the theory starts. For the sake of the theory, let's say these are in fact those giants, the ancient Galley Law from potentially the Void Century. They are very likely the shipwrights who created the ancient weapon Pluton, the greatest battleship the world has ever seen, said to be able to destroy entire islands on its own, and the blueprints that were the catalyst of everything we saw at Water 7 and Enies Lobby. These blueprints were actually passed down to Iceberg from Tom, but apparently these blueprints have been being passed down for centuries through legendary shipwrights, which would surely lead us back to the ancient Galley Law. Well, the real question now is, how does this help us? They're all frozen. Well, that's where our boy Loki comes in. Rox always wanted to team up with Harold, and one big reason is the potential of him being able to reawaken the Galley Law giants. But I now think that obviously it will be Loki who does this. We've seen the first named attack from him, or at least his hammer, and it's Nibelheim, which references Niflheim, which is a world of fog and primordial ice. And the other primordial world from Norse mythology is Muspelheim, a world of fire. So I think it's fair to say that Loki will be the one to reawaken the ancient Galley Law and add the power of 100 ancient giants to the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. That's all I've got. As always, let me know what you think in the comments.